What's up now? We have this segment now. We're supposed to have Senator Damian Crawford. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. Miss Patricia Scarlett Forrester, she's a principal. Sharon Grant and Richard James, or resident statistician. See him, let me see him, my brother. Let me see. I see. I'm going to bring that. I'm going to say Sharon, guys. Just Sharon. So we're missing two people. But here what? The show going to go on, and hopefully they'll join us. If not, we'll just continue the program and do what we have to do. So without further ado, folks, let me bring in my brethren, Mr. Richard James, Senior, and
Yes,
Miss Sharon
Yes,
Grant.
good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me on as usual.
All right. Miss Sharon Grant.
Hello,
Welcome.
everyone. Thank you for your invite, and I look forward to a fulsome experience.
So are we. We're looking forward to it. And from what I've heard from our producers, it's gonna be, a fantastic segment with both of you. We
Okay.
were expecting two additional persons, but they're not here yet, so we'll just continue
Okay.
without them. Now, the topic is teacher migration and its impact on the education system in Jamaica. Before we start, Um, Richard, a lot of people they've seen you on the program and they've heard, they've heard your background about your background. But I see Miss Patricia is joining us. She will join us shortly. But we have some. Every show, we tend to have new people, and that's what we want. Want new people joining us, listening to what's
Sure.
going on, enjoying and the program, and also being educated. So take a few minutes and just tell us who is Richard James, please.
Okay, Richard James is just the author of Richard James Mathematics Resources. A vision for the longest while. I returned from the university in 1996, and I was amazed at what I saw. And when you consider that it was not until 5 years later that I had a cell phone, then you'll understand where we are today in comparison to when I got the vision that Jamaica and everyone in the world will need mathematics resources, because you're always going to need a tutor by your side. And that was because of the distraction that I realized that was in society, things that students would normally encounter on their way from school. I concluded that they are not going to retain much, so they need to have resources. They have audiovisuals and also books. Apart from that, I'm a graduate of the University of the West Indies, Mona. I won 5 national mathematics competition for Cornwall College, 4 as a student and 1 as a teacher. And I've been around for the longest while. So almost every day I go someplace and somebody come up to me, oh, Mr. James, so and so, and they have, quite a few things to say. Half of them I do not remember them.
Okay.
Right, and of course I've been teaching for quite some time, and in a wide variety of places, to the extent that I've also taught like 3 generations, the mother, the daughter, and the grandmother, thing like that, and I've done that on more than one occasion.
That's a good man.
Yes, I've done that on more than one occasions.
Right.
So my passion already, to get students to learn mathematics the right way, and as usual. Just to take a handful of these, for a few seconds, we have the mathematics resources, and these are the main ingredients of the mathematics resources. 7 instructional manuals for students doing the CXC, CSEC exam. Some of them might be turned upside down. The first one is the algebra. Of course, I'm not going to take much more of the time. The second one is functions part 1, and I've divided functions in 2 parts because of how wide the topic is and its importance. So we have functions, main functions, working with the inverse composition of functions, functions as graphs. We also have as mappings. Then we have quadratic graph, equation of a straight line graph, gradient of a curve. In this book alone, gradient of a curve. And we have, is there anything else? Straight line graph, and we have completing the square and solution of quadratic equation by completing the square. I'm not going to go into detail unless time is allowed at the end of the program. Just giving you a quick view. Here's functions part 2. So this is I'm going to take up functions part 2. Here it is. Functions part 2, we have a second version of it. And this book is like a gem. So this book, if you are doing functions, you need to have this one more than anyone else, because the things in this book concerning functions, they are not being taught in the schools, although they are part of the syllabus. Thank you.
Mm.
Yes. Computations part 1, continuation from your primary school and your lower grades with your ratios, percentages, and so on. As I said before, I'm going to make each introduction very short. Trigonometry. Nothing else about trigonometry except that that is the simplest version of a trigonometry presentation that most people who have seen this book would have seen in their entire lifetime. This one, yes, this one is also a must-have because it also discusses a lot of things that you don't generally get taught in high school. And of course, the only hybrid book at the moment, which way to go? This one, Computations Part 2 and Geometry. Inside here we have the set theory, we have, what's the second one? Statistics. Then we have your regular measurements, circle theorem, construction, and those things. And so those are your 7 instructional manuals, and I'm brief with it. And so so the show, the early part of the show can go on uninterrupted by Richard James Mathematics Resources. So thank you for allowing me.
No problem. No problem, my brother. Let me just move on to Miss Grant. And again, give her a warm welcome. And just ask her to kind of like just tell us who is this lovely Sharon Grant.
So it seems so unfair that you would put me after the mathematician. No, it's not right. I should have gone before I started, Mr. James. But Sir James, let me use this opportunity to say you have been doing a fantastic job. I was a terrible math student while I was in primary school, high school, all the way up. And it's so ironic that now, as a runaway teacher in the United States, I now teach math and science. So wow. I would have appreciated all those resources back in the day, as I would have been able to pass more than muster at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am Charon Grant. I hail from the beautiful parish of St. James. And of course, as a Montegonian, yes, I'm a past student of Herbert Morrison, which is the creme de la creme now, Sir James. So you have to go Holland from the Cornwallian over there, suffer a bit. And of course,
college is not nowhere where it's supposed to be at this time.
All right,
so I am so here and tell you that Cornwall is good, because Cornwall is not good now. You want to play this academy?
That is for another show, Mr. James. That is for another show.
Boy, it's my school. I won 5 national mathematics competitions. I know that they are nowhere now. And I'm going to be the first person to say that.
I am so sorry, sir. I hear some deep-rooted emotions right there. However, for the other segment of the show, we'll take it up. However,
it's not my fault, because I have everything for the school to do well.
There you go. And yes, of course, the reason why we're here this evening, not accepting our jobs and so on, and not using the resources the right and proper way that we can at the national level and internationally, we are now suffering the repercussions or the implications of all of that, because we talk about teacher migration. And of course, I am one of those teachers who recently migrated on a teaching program after 20 years in the classroom in Jamaica. So I am a master teacher by professional standards, and I am still an active justice of the peace until I have resigned, but I still hold my roots there. And of course, any little contributions that I can make, I still make towards the schools in my community, as well as in the areas that I need to. So the synopsis is Charon Grant, master teacher, now teaching in the United States and rocking it as I normally would.
See him so. All right. Now we have Miss Patricia Forrester. Welcome to Reason with Rattigan. I'm told that you're a principal. Is that true?
Yes, I am a principal. I am the principal of Pisgah. But first, let me say good afternoon, everyone. I am happy to be here. and to be among some of the brightest persons I know, Mr. James and Miss Grant. And yes, I am the principal of Pisgah Primary and Infant School,
Mhm.
where I have been serving. I served as a pre-trained teacher, then a trained teacher, and now a principal. So I've been serving at Pisgah for 29 years, but I have been teaching for 30 years.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's get into the discussion. No, out of respect, I need to know if I can call you by first name or not. Um, sure, Sharon.
That's
Miss.
okay.
Okay. All right. Good. And then we have here. I didn't introduce him, Mr. President, who is the co-host and the man with the plan. So I'm going to ask him a lot of questions. We go back and up, President Ramp. So President Ramp. No, here's the thing. School will be opening in a few weeks, and we're hearing reports of mass migration, mass resignation, and it's a concern for the students in Jamaica. Who will be in the classrooms to teach? There won't be a Sharon Grant in the classroom. We know that for sure. Patricia is still there, but I suspect that she's witnessing some things that are not going right. And so we're going to talk about those things. Richard is still there. Let me just general question, a general question before we get specific. What are your what are your feelings about what is going on in the system regarding teacher retention, teacher migration? Let me start with you, Richard.
Okay, you know that I always have a little anecdote. Somehow, I'm generally in the right place at the right time. Or you might look at it in the other way, the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, a member of parliament came here some years ago, right in my office. And don't believe that it's just after COVID and the rush that we have right now, because it is something that I mentioned and was always a concern to me about the migration, not only of teachers, but generally, people who are highly trained and experienced, people who are here for nation building. Somehow, after between 15 years, they have decided to go. So I was just speaking to him. And his take on it was that since they are going away like that, all we need to do is just continue to train them. And then, so the impression that he was giving me is that you would just train them to ship them off, train them and ship them off, train them and ship them off. That was the kind of idea that he was conveying to me. You know that? Well, I'm very happy that we have experience, along here with me who could confirm the same thing. I graduated from the University of the West Indies. I'm a graduate from the University of the West Indies. I graduated from Sam Sharp, Michael, anywhere. When you leave Teachers College and you enter the classroom as a young teacher, you start to really learn, because that's your lifetime thing now. You're in the classroom. It's not that you're going to be preparing for an examination where the examination is going to be more important than anything else. It is now the real thing. And I'm happy that I have two other individuals with me to confirm that when you graduate from the Teachers College with honors, you are not a full-fledged teacher. And you will not be a full-fledged teacher until maybe after 3 to 8 years in the business. Then you really get into it. So the whole idea of teachers leaving and leaving in droves, a teacher is not so easily replaced. Mm-hmm. So you don't worry about the immediate repercussion, because of course it's not good, and we know that we are going to suffer a lot from it. But in order to replace teachers who have been in the classroom for 5 to 15 years, some 20 years, some even 30, to replace teachers like those. You cannot take somebody from the teachers college and replace someone like that.
Okay, and we're not even talking about bringing in teachers from overseas with a different culture, a different trade.
Right.
We're not even hearing it. I want to
Yeah,
put up something on the board. Yeah, I want to put up something before we get to that discussion. But let me hear from Charon about that, please.
okay.
Oh, wait. No, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I'm just taking it step by step because I'm just going to be doing it one. So I'm just talking about the whole idea of replacing a teacher. When we get to that one, then I'm going to be 100% with it also.
Fair enough. Charon.
Ah, it's a daunting picture that has been painted. On one hand, you will see teachers being, painted with one black brush. The whole of them, like him say, train them, send them off, train them, send them off. But at the end of the day, when it go back to teachers' colleges and you look at the training that you get, I know for the better part of my teacher training days, I had a very good inculcation into the teaching atmosphere. Mrs. Forrester and I are batchmates from that system, where in which we went to a Sam Sharp. I can tell you because of the rudiments of the program, as well as those teams and those colleagues that you would have had. It would have been, or it equates to, it's a step in the right direction. I tell people I spent the best 3 years of my life at Teachers College, because the lessons learned, even though they were on the spot, you're putting them into practice, and the theory and the practice never really amounted, because guess what? Mr. James just said it. Your real test, whether you graduated at top of your class or you graduated with average results, your test does not start until you step into that classroom September morning, meeting those 20, 30. My first year as a 22-year-old, fresh out of college, was 59 students.
Wow.
59.
That's what I mean.
And I had to show them, yes, and I've always had principals who stood with me and whatever programs I would have implemented. So me can't buy like some of the other teachers. I would have had a gold spoon in my mouth with all the principles that I've had. However, it was a test, it was a trial, and I am still learning even today, because guess what? No matter how we step out of the Jamaican culture and the Jamaican context, you bring whatever you have garnered to the spaces in the United States. And that's one of the reasons, as you would have seen or will have delved into or will delve into, why we are so sought after as Jamaicans. No other country in the world, the Americas, no need than Jamaicans. One teacher will tell you last year, me clean out Jamaica. American principal said that.
Wow.
So we are highly sought because we have classroom control. We have the technical know-how. We know how to go around any system, and I'm not talking about duplicity. We know how to make the systems work. That's one of the reasons why many of us have stuck to the soil so many years, because we keep on using the little to no resources to make the government, make the country look great. And until your next set of questions, because I'm getting emotional, and let's go to Pat. Let's go to Pat.
All right. All right. Pat,
Yes, sir.
talk to us. Just your general impression of what's going on. Teacher retention, teacher migration.
Well, we have to really start at what is causing it. What is the root cause of our teachers leaving Jamaica? And there are a number of things that we could look at to identify the root causes for the migration. The retention also is based on why am I in the classroom? There are persons who are in teaching for different reasons. And you would go in with a philosophy that might be different from others. Because as for me, I am not going anywhere. I will always be here, because each time I think about it, it would be just, okay, why would I want to go? Is it that I need a better salary? Or is it because of the lack of resources? Why did I even start teaching? Why did I even go into teaching? And I have to go back to that, check myself, and then I realized that I went in it because I have my little black brothers and sisters who need to learn to read and write. I looked back at slavery and I said to myself, though it is said oftentimes, so it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. But if we should ever get back to slavery, then my little black brothers and sisters, they should be able to read and write this time around. So it all depends on the reasons for being where you are. I, Miss Grant, she's a master teacher. I really felt badly when she had to go. I really didn't want Jamaica to lose a Miss Grant. But then at the end of the day, it boils down to her philosophy and what it is that she really wants to achieve. And if she is able to achieve that by being here in Jamaica. The systems here, it's rough and it takes, you have to be extremely strong to work with the education sector in Jamaica to get what it is that is really needed for our students. Because I think though some persons might go because they need a better salary, there are times when you feel so trapped, not having the resources you need to get the job done. And I have felt that way a number of times and say, you know what, I can't bother with this because it's so hard for me to be out there doing fundraising to get the resources that I need to keep my classroom going when I was a classroom teacher, still a classroom teacher, and even now as a principal. And I have always made it clear to my superiors that recently I said to them that, you know what, I will no longer be a prostitute for the education ministry because we need to just get the resources, send us the resources that we need so we can get the business going. So the migration, it is based on a number of reasons and different persons have different reasons for leaving. And most persons are leaving because of the salary. But that again, we as teachers, we have the power. Before the migration, it was like over 23,000 of us. But we are cowards. Teachers are cowards. We could be getting more done in Jamaica if we were not cowards. We are afraid to stand up. We are afraid to speak up. And even though we are a part of a union that says unite and serve, there's no unity. I have experienced it on a number of occasions where I would go to conferences and meetings as a principal, standing up for certain things, and there's nobody to stand with me. And that's the reason why the system is the way it is now, because we who know better, there is not enough of us to fight for our children. There's not enough of us to fight. So instead of fighting, we just move on to somewhere else. But at the end of the day, Jamaica needs us. And Jamaica needs us now more than ever because it's our children who are really suffering. And we really need to fight this system. And I am prepared to fight it. I've been fighting it. I've been getting some results because recently though it is not through the government of Jamaica, but through Caribbean Development Bank, I was able to now they are going to rehabilitate my school and give me some new classrooms and and other things that I need. Well, right now I'm getting even more things than I've asked for. Because even for September, I'll be getting 2 special education teachers just like that. But how many of us are prepared to fight? But we need to fight because Jamaica cannot continue like this. But we just need to fight. I'll just end right there for now.
Fight, we will.
Uh,
Let me throw up before we. Let me use this as to segue to the heart of the matter. Look at this, folks. If you, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but I'll read it. This
based
is
on
a
a sample
study
of 156
called
teachers.
from teacher migration and the Jamaican education system, exploring push and pull factors and policy options. It's dated December of last year. It's very recent. And it says, based on a sample of 157 teachers, 45.9% of whom had left the Jamaican classroom and were working overseas, and 41.4% of whom were seriously contemplating migration, the study found that, and here is the first finding. Approximately 94% of the respondents perceive that Jamaica has a teacher migration crisis, and 89% believe that the crisis has become more acute in the last 2 years. Next finding, 10 factors are identified as contributing to teacher migration, the chief of which is, and Patricia just spoke about it, low wages. And Sharon is an example of it. Low wages. That's one of the reasons why she left. Not the only reason I suspect, but one of the reasons. And then another finding, the other four factors in the top five in descending order are lack of resources for teaching, poor school leadership, poor working conditions, and negative behaviors of students. Leadership by principals played a role in the decision of 72.1% of the respondents' decision to leave. Now, here it is. Here are the responses. Incentives that would encourage teachers to remain teaching in Jamaica, right? There it is. Safe society is one. Better leadership and management. Better working conditions. Improved discipline in schools. Affordable housing. More resources for teacher. And look at the very last one. Improved salaries. Now, let me play devil's advocate. I won't put this thing back, but let me play devil's advocate. Sharon, Patricia, Richard, one a ball for the government just give the civil servants, them teachers, and give them a hefty hike of 20%. We're not talking about the 300% of them get. We're talking about the 20% of them get. So, well, and we see weird now. Them want to bring lawsuit now if said that the lady who signed the thing, she shouldn't have signed it. Right. So this time around, Sharon, you go first. Talk to me now. Why you complaining about the salaries? You got an increase.
Funny enough, you talk about the increase, and that's kind of like one of my push factor. The wage increases and so on, and salary discrepancies. But if you stop to think, and I've often said, yes, as bright minds in Jamaica, you'd want to think that the government will have a handle, and yes, they did surveys and whatever, but how many teachers are they going? You ain't have 23,000 teachers. You couldn't do one survey with each one of them. Now, when you look at teachers and salaries, say the lifespan of a teacher, basically, they have you in the classroom now until 65. I've had teachers who've retired from the system, and sickness take out all of them pension. They now have nothing left in the kitty. Them now have nothing to say, all right, if me sick a morning, me can go pay the bill there, or me can go see the doctor. Plus, they have spouses, they have children. Now, I've often said, you will have less persons quarreling about a salary increase as a 22-year-old teacher when I started. You see, if the government will say, all right, Grant and whoever else, we go all off on the salary because them come in with memorandums of understandings, many of those during my tenure. And if you check to find how many teachers owned a piece of property for themselves without having to go to the JTA Corp Credit Union or Victoria Mutual or whatever the case may be, you'd find that many of us were, if we were have a roof over our head, that we couldn't say a fewy. Erase some of the red tape When me can bring one car coming in the country cheaper than when me go down a price mark go buy for our donor superior unders or whatever. No, that all right. Me not forgot to take out one next loan, pan the loan and me have figure pay rent. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
So you're not
Or it made
satisfied.
no sense. At the end of the day, and I can tell you, there was no shame in my game. At one point in time, in 15 years of teaching, me I carry home $3,000. 3,000 Jamaican dollars. And I was not living above my means. And for want of wanting to step above the curve, me take up my enough self, so me I go do this a degree, yeah, that a degree, and that's where the money had to go back to. I have to take a loan for pay for the people their money when I go borrow down a JTA. Take a loan for and for kill that loan there. That's how we lived as teachers.
So the 20% increase, then you're saying that it wasn't enough.
You will hear people quarreling that Jamaican teachers greedy, this and that, and Tara knows what. But until you step into the shoe or the classroom of a teacher and you find out the nits and the grits behind how that teacher turns up every day, giving 110%, then you would have something else to say. But those of us who have been in the system, who have been in the classroom, who have had the struggles, we know. And I've oftentimes tell people, our system in Jamaica is not ideal. No system in the world is ideal educationally. But when you do go to these places that provide you a little bit more, and you say, all right, before me reach 16, I can go on the vacation then, or I can go on the cruise then, without having to take another loan.
Right.
I can send my children to the university because them no sit teacher picking if you go to university, no doctor and lawyer picking if you go to university.
Right.
Teachers' children ought not to have that bright.
No, not even the teacher must not have anything.
Even the teacher.
Must not have anything at all. So then
You mustn't have any zest. You mustn't have any zeal. And Jamaica wants to retain bright minds. On what?
Mhm.
On what?
Give me the passion. Give me I feel it,
I
man.
did 4 principalship interviews. And you see, when Mrs. Seminende get none, or they get the 4th one, I said to my father up above, I said, Father, you see, since you want me be the best teacher I can be, I'll be that. Because you never open none of them 4 doors. You have to go aspire to Mrs. Forrester's office. So I never open the door. So I say, all right, give me the propensity to be the best teacher that I can. And you see, before I left Jamaica, the Lord opened one door for me. You see, if I decide, so I'm not bother go no way. If the system never opens up, I experienced Moses and the Red Sea parting just like that. And all I had to do was just walk. No looking back, no looking left, no looking right. If I say, all right, everything will go come down crashing on my head. The Lord made a way, and where he guided, he provided. Where he guided, he provided. And my colleagues will tell you this. If you check the Jamaicans, we still have that heart and passion for Jamaica. We're not throwing no stone back away. The other day, I came in without anybody knowing. Somebody was like, what you do? I mean, I never know. I said the gate went like I'm going to come back. Because there is you see, when you make decisions for yourself and your family, because when it comes to a point, you can no longer put state, country, children, want to feel in that forefront anymore. You have to think of you, your family, and where you are going. Now, I decided I will make the step with guidance. So it wasn't a decision that I got up one night and say, so I can't take Jamaica system no more. Remark, me tell you, I've had principals who have stuck with me. We have fight the good fight, and out of where them say no good can come out of Nazareth. Well, where I thought there was literally no good that was expected from that area. And we made it work. Me run programs so till boy, Patricia, me and you are in prostitute for the education system, sister. Because we run program plan zero budget and left money in a kitty. That's how we worked.
I hear you.
And if you come to the test, I may have to come back up morning. Granted that any school will take me after me and break my service according to the system. Any school that will take me, I will continue to work as assiduously as I can, or would have, you know, because the passion is still there. We want our children to succeed so badly that if we couldn't go in at the exam, them go do it for them. But guess what? Then you go to another system that is marginalized. The
Right.
system is designed to fail our inner city children.
Hold that point. Hold that point. Let me hear from Patricia. Patricia,
Salary.
salary.
Oh, Jesus. Salary. You know that the salary, the teachers before us, and the union, they are our problems. Because I remembered when I started as a pre-trained teacher in 1994, they train teachers at the school where I started teaching. When they get their check, they could go and change it down by, I remember this man named Bertie Dish. You get your check as a teacher and you can just carry go to the community shop and change it. And I was saying to myself, but what is this? Then you could get a salary as a teacher and you can change it at a community shop. That means they weren't getting much. And that was 1994. But as years go by, again, teachers are cowards. We don't stand up, we don't speak out. And we have the unions who are always working with the different political parties. And we are paying our fees, but we are not holding them accountable. They are the ones who are bargaining on our behalf. And they should be the ones doing the research to find out if there is enough money there to give us an increase. Clearly, it seems as if they are not doing any research. So at the end of the day, they will just ask the government for 60% increase, not knowing whether or not the government can afford a 60% increase, because they can go and do their own research to find out if it can happen. But it doesn't seem as if they are doing that. So at the end of the day, they just pull a number out of a bag and just ask for an increase. And then the government decided that, all right, no, we don't have that to pay. But the JTA, the union, they have absolutely no clue as to whether the government can pay or the government can't pay. So even with this recent negotiation, where they gave us 20% and they took 300, how is it that JTA did not do a research to know that there was enough money there where we could get 60%, which would end up taking another 40 out of their 300 and give them 260. They are not doing any research. They are not working on our behalf. And at the end of the day, you can blame the government. I wouldn't even blame them because we have a union. We have a union. And we also need to blame ourselves for paying this fee to them every month. And we're not holding them accountable. They are the ones who are not working for us. Because if I have a business place operating and I can pay people anything and I'm all right with it, then all right, I'm going to go ahead. And that is what the government has been doing over the years. They realize that the people who are leading the unions, the persons who are negotiating on our behalf, they must have so they are aligned to the political parties. And then at the end of the day, we are not getting what we deserve. So though we are blaming the government, but we have a union. We have a union who is supposed to be speaking up and standing up for us. And we, as teachers, we need to be holding the union accountable. And until we are able to do that, then it's not going to get any better. I don't see where our teachers are going to get a better salary. Because at the end of the day, we have a union bargaining on our behalf, negotiating on our behalf. And if the union is not getting it right, then the government will not get it right. So we need to hold the union accountable. Now we need to stand up and speak out some more because all of us can just continue to pack up and go and leave our little brothers and sisters here suffering. Persons like Miss Grant and I, we know that I'm in a deep rural community in St. Elizabeth. Right now, If me should ever pack up and leave them, I don't even know what will happen to them. Because I am there fighting a number of wars. I'm fighting incest. I'm fighting everything possible that can hold back our generation of people. And I just know that the salary, the only way I am going to get a better salary is if I hold my union accountable and get my union to stand up and do the research and find out where the money is. When they go to bargaining, they can say, but you have the money there. You have the money there. We did our research. We found out that the money is there. You can pay us and let us stand up. But until we have that, trust me, the teachers will be leaving. Money management is another problem. A lot of our teachers don't have financial education. And the thing is this, when we signed up that 503 form, we knew from the initial stage that we would be getting $50 per month. And we get that $50 per month, but we don't know how to manage it. There's a number of us who don't know how to manage the $50 that we are getting per month. So there's a number of things. But the bottom line is our unions. The union, not union, because it's only one. The union, they are not bargaining for us. They are not working for us. And we are not holding them accountable.
All right.
All
Well said.
right.
Bring in Mr. James here. Name officer, Mr. James,
Well,
talk.
just one statement to begin with. JTA, Just Talk Association,
Come on.
and I want to know the next one that you are moving on to before I start to talk on this one. What will be in the next section?
Wait,
Well,
Next
before
question.
before we go there, you want to move on? You don't want to answer this?
No, I'm going to go with salary, but I want to know what you're going to discuss after this salary.
what we're gonna discuss, we're going to discuss this whole idea of teacher migration, and we're also going to talk about resources being provided or not provided to the schools. What we want to get at is, why is the education system failing? Because as you know, there's a recent study, international study, that came out that's saying Jamaican students are performing below international standards in basic subjects.
That's a very serious discussion. Okay, concerning this salary, again, I always have a little story to tell. I was teaching at Cornwall College in the late 1980s. I returned 1997, 96. I returned from the university in 1996. And maybe between 1998 to the turn of the century, I was at Cornwall College during that time. And we experienced quite a few things, in terms of teachers getting in and out. So there were some volunteers. Some volunteers came from the United States to Jamaica. And they said that, because I'm just giving you a perspective on the salary, right? They came here. Those volunteers, because that's what they were called, that's what they came here as, they were given housing and utilities. And that's what I know for sure. I don't know how much food was into it, but I'm sure housing, utilities, they got that. Now they were getting the same amount of money that I was getting. And they said that they don't see how they could survive on that. Now, think about that. They are volunteers giving the same wage as somebody who is in the school. They are getting utilities and they are getting accommodations. We have to go home and take care of our family. We have to pay utilities. We have to do everything with the same amount of money that they say that they cannot survive with, even though their expenses were what? Heavily subsidized. So that is to tell you what our salary is when compared to theirs. as volunteers, they could not survive on our salary, even though they were getting so many things free. Consider that.
Right.
Another thing, bearing that in mind, how is a husband going to take care of a wife on that salary? Send one of his daughter to high school. The oldest one is already in university, and one is in primary school. When you think about salary in this place, you know, come like a criminal man them are creating this place, you know. Hold on a bit, depending on where you are teaching. Depending on where you are teaching, you have to find lunch for some students, fare for some students, and sometimes some other things that cost children, maybe a book or something. The teachers have to take money out of their own pocket like after them one take.
Yep.
But Mr. James, it boils back down to our union, to the union not doing their job. They are not doing their job on our behalf. We could be getting a better salary, but they are not doing a good job on our behalf. The union has been failing us year in, year out.
Hold on one second.
Association.
Hold on one second, Richard. Before, as I interrupted Ron, she was saying the system is designed to fail. I think that's an exact quote. And then we hear from Patricia saying we have our representatives in an organization called the Jamaica Teachers Association. Richard too much, and I write Richard said, right? And she's saying that, look, we need to hold these people accountable. So the problem is, okay, we're not getting enough money. But the question is, okay, the question now is, now that we know that, who do we go to address this problem? And Patricia is saying, we go to the people who represent us, and they're not acting appropriately. We're not getting what we need out of them. And that leads to Sharon's point, saying, well, the system is designed to fail. Because the question then is, was it always like this with the JTA? Was it, let me ask Patricia, was it always like this?
Yes, it is always like this. Any government is in power, you find out that the JTA is somehow aligned to that government who is in power, the government that is in power at that time. And that's the reason why we are having the situation we are having now with the JTA president. She's now, there's a lawsuit based on what was signed off on, which goes against the code of ethics. No, and the JTA regulations. So when you look at it, these are the things that keep happening. And I'm telling you that there are other persons at the JTA. So different from you have a JTA president. There are other persons at the JTA who are there, for the want of a better word, to cow you down. So at the end of the day, even though you are chosen as the president to represent the teachers, they are there dictating how you must bargain and what it is that you need to ask for. You see, they just run ahead the other day and just sign off sign off the deal without even taking anybody into consideration. But I mean, no. We as teachers too, we need to do better. We can't allow these people to just handle the situation anyhow. You see, if I could represent myself when it comes to salary, I would be getting a better salary. Because I went to the Bahamas to teach 2006. And while I was there were some Jamaican teachers there. And when I checked the salaries, I know that the salary that they were paying us while we were in the Bahamas, that salary wasn't much. And I told him straightforward that I'm not collecting this. I know that I work more than this. And the man said he's going to increase my salary by 100 US. And I said, no, I don't want 100 US. I want 250 US dollars. And at the end of the day, I got my 250 US dollars. But the other teachers want to join with me so that they could get an increase.
Mm.
And that is what I'm saying. Until we unite, then that's the only time we are going to get things done. Why I ran away to the Bahamas, it was some other things that was happening in my environment. Because at that time, they were giving me the principal position at that time. I knew I wasn't ready for it. I know I was just being used to create some problems in my environment. So that's the reason why I ran away at that time. But the thing I am saying is that if I were able to bargain for myself, I know I would be getting a better salary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I tell you what,
it is the JTA. It is the JTA, and we as teachers we need to unite to ensure that the JTA is bargaining on our behalf.
sounds to me like the you should be the head of the JTA.
What the JTA did was ensure that when they're having their meetings, they don't send an email to my school.
Okay, I
Oh
see.
boy.
They said
All
it,
But
they said it's all the way up there.
Let me just chime in real quick.
Percy, go ahead.
Yeah. I am kind of, I guess, in a sense, intimately involved in solving some of the problems in Jamaica. I run a not-for-profit called Free Spirit Outreach, and for the last 18 years, we've been going to Jamaica and giving back to the schools. In fact, we just gave a scholarship for teachers at the Bethlehem Teachers College. We also 2 years ago built a computer lab at the Unity Primary and Infant School, and have given away tens of thousands of book bags and school supply. My sister also, and I'm just trying to create a context here. So my sister also makes charts that she sells to teacher called Natasha's Charts. Now, one of the things that she said to me, because when she was telling me about her business model, is that the teachers themselves are the ones who have to pay for these charts that they put in the classroom. The teachers themselves have to be the ones who buy most of their everyday supply. So I want to know, with that minuscule salary that you guys receive, and you also have to buy your supplies, I want to know, are you in this because you truly just love the people? Are you and want to teach and give the kids a future? Or are you an ID10T or an idiot? I mean, how could you make so little money and then take that little money and giving lunch money to children, buying your own charts, and sometimes supplies for your classroom? What you guys have the best heart. Are you're crazy. So help me understand where this passion comes from.
Well,
that's fine.
when it comes to the buying of the resources, sorry, Sharon. Let me just I'm going to let you talk after. When it comes to the resources, a part of our salary that JTA claim that they have negotiated for is what we used to get called book allowance. So a part of that salary, based on what I was told, was that little stipend that was a part of the salary, which they used to call book allowance. So remember that little thing, Sharon? They wipe that out now and put everything together. They call it the book allowance. And I was told that that was to offset the cost for resources. Different from that, the school is given what we call a regular grant. It's not a lot of money, but that money comes to buy the charts, to buy resources like those, like the charts, the whiteboard markers, the chalk, and so on. Every single school would have gotten regular grant. You would get it each term. So it is, well, all principals are not like Patricia. Because when I get the regular grant, when I get the grant receipt, that receipt I would share with my teachers. So the teachers would be aware of how much money we have received to buy resources, and the book allowance that they would have gotten, they would know how to use that. But really and truly, it is the responsibility of the school to ensure that the teachers get the resources that they need to use in their classrooms. The grant is not enough, and there are times when teacher want to extend and they might go out, they see something nice and they want to buy it. What I start doing, what I really started doing is the grant that comes in, I would divide that grant and I would allocate a certain amount to each teacher. They would buy what they want to buy, what they need for the classrooms. And all they have to do is give me the receipts so I can send in my returns to the Ministry of Education. So that is how I do it, because I don't like going out and shopping for teachers, because teachers know what they need. Sometimes they'll give you a list and you go and you would buy the resources that they need. But they too go to the bookstores at times, and as I said before, they would see something that they like and they want to buy it, but they don't have the money. And I know that the money that they're getting is not a lot. So I ensure that whatever I get from the ministry to buy resources, I ensure that my teachers get it. But not all principals are like that. So that again, our teachers need again to know what it is that is available to them and ask for it. They are in a system, but they don't know the system. They don't understand the system that they are in. They are just in it. They don't even know the code. Nothing they don't know. Most teachers don't even know the code. Principals can and chairmen and all kind of something can just do as they like with them, because not even the very code that is to protect them, they don't know. So when they have to be spending their money to buy resources, it's because probably they don't even know that the government send money come to buy these resources.
Wow.
So they shouldn't
But
have to.
Madam Principal, as you would have said, some of the principals don't know the code. And then some principals will tell you directly, the ministry not send no money for that. So
Yes, we
it
get
goes
it.
back
It's
to you.
there. It's there. It's right there.
It
We
goes
get a
back to you now.
grant. Yeah, we get a grant for resources. We get a grant for internet. We get a grant for water. We get a grant for janitorial. It's not enough. It is not enough. When you get $40,000 to buy water, $40,000 to buy water, that's 2 trucks of water in a month. But you get that $40,000 to serve you for 4 months.
Oh Lord.
So it's not enough, It's not enough. But I would never burden my teachers to use the salary that they are getting to buy resources for the school, because that 160,000 or sometimes 75, depending on the term, and it all boils down to the number of students you have on roll. Because
About to go to
if you
that.
have a if you have a class if you have a school with over 300 and odd students, you're going to be getting over $500,000 to buy resources. But you have some principals saving money for government. I don't know why, but the ministry is always up against that. There are schools right now that have millions of dollars in their accounts that is being taken back by the Ministry of Education right now to do repairs, because they have the money and they're not spending the money. They're not giving the teachers the money to use. They're not buying the resources that the teachers need.
Now, from
Sure.
my day in our Jamaican system, I've used my earned cash to buy resources, or I would have known a Patricia or a Mr. Rattigan, or wherever you are in the world. I'm give you a call or send you a message. I have 5 students who need some internet, or I need a device for one student who doesn't have a device. We need some money for buy paint the classroom, and that's how I was able to make do. I used my community. I reached
Listen,
out, and of course,
let me stop you right there again with the paint. There's $150,000. It used to be 75,000. It's now increased to $150,000. Not enough, but it comes for maintenance. So persons who are donating to the schools, sponsoring the schools, and so on. There are times when I'm going to make a suggestion. that we find out from the principals what is it that you're getting. Because I'm telling you that some of these primary and high schools, they have millions of dollars in their account. I don't know why they're saving this money. Because some of them even retire leaving millions of dollars in schools account. So even for you to be buying paint, you shouldn't be buying any paint because money come to buy paint. Every June, July, you get either $75,000. Now they're sending $150,000, and that again is based on your enrollment. My school is a small population. I only have 105 students. I get $150,000 to buy paint and whatever else that I need. And you can also request more money for other little things that needs to be done when it comes to your canteen and so on. So at the end of the day, it is just that there's not enough transparency. No wonder the research has shown that leadership in our schools, 71, I saw Professor Thompson. Professor Thompson posted that yesterday to show that leadership is also a cause for the migration because there's no transparency. Because teachers shouldn't have to be bearing the burden of buying paint and those things to look about their classrooms because they get the money to do it.
But then when it goes back to the painting too, and I will talk about the classroom. I like my classroom to be aesthetically pleasing. The paint that the principals choose, Mama, they don't look good. So when I decide that I want a bright color classroom, or a yellow classroom, or a yellow background, or make it white per se, with irrespective of an inner city, and I had to do that because the principal will tell you this is the color paint that was already bought.
No.
So because I want something differently, I had to go and find my way.
But Sharon, you know that there's no space now for leadership. What you would call there has to be inclusion. There has to be. You can't be making plans and your teachers are not a part of it. I would never go out and buy paint for a teacher, just decide that this is the color that I'm going to buy. No. My teachers must play a part in decision making. And as again, I said that teachers are so scared because even at my school, even though I have given them the opportunity to participate in leadership, you can still find out that some persons are timid, and I have to be motivating them, sending aspects of the code to them to say, speak up. Do not be afraid to speak up. At the end of the day, you can't be fired for speaking up for what is right. This is the code. These are the only reasons you can be terminated. So guess what? Speak up.
Mrs. Forrester, you talk about speaking up, Many of us have been muzzled. Many of us have been told to retract the statement. All right.
No, but you have the code to defend you.
Yes,
you have the code to defend you.
But when you are a lowly teacher down there, sir, and all the principals meet up there, sir. Come on,
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, but don't be afraid. We can't be afraid. Miss Grant, we can't be afraid. We can't be afraid because worse, if there's a constitution to defend us, there is a code of ethics to defend us. Who can mess with me? Who is going to mess with me? Listen, I'm not a bully, I'm not a bully. I work with the law. I work with the law. I work with the rules. I work with the policies. I work with the regulations. Even my chairman had to resign because at the end of the day, if he's not working according to the constitution, the code of ethics, the policies of the Ministry of Education, then he has to step aside. We can't continue to we are educators, We are the leader of this nation, We run things, You think of them? We run things, And of them run things, We have the handle, But we hold on to the blade and give them the handle. We are the educators. We are the educators. We have the handle. We have handle. But we gave away, we are giving away the handle to some people who are not them run things around here.
Well,
and that is what I am talking about, that there needs to be an uprising of educators who can defend the rights of our children. There needs to be an uprising. We can't continue like this. We can't continue to migrate like this. I know that, yes, people will always go and come. But at the end of the day, Miss Grant, we have to stand up. We have to stand up. Some standing up have to go on because we're putting them a dunce,
They're not
The
done.
Chinese are coming, the Indians are coming, they are coming back, They are coming back. And we can't afford to be leaving our children for them to come back here to take over from us. Well, guess what happened? Something must be done. But I am telling you, we can't continue to be like this. We are the most powerful sector in Jamaica based on the number of teachers. There's no other sector that is as strong as us. Yet we are the weakest because we are just scared. I am not scared. Listen, I have no bone in me that is scared. I will fight the system and I will continue to fight until I know I'm not going to be able to win all the wars, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight because really and truly, these little children here, it can't continue.
But Pat,
So
and
Yes.
JT,
what I said already, as a principal, you know the backlash many teachers have faced. We know the stories. If you sit in a corner and talk to one teacher from one little rural area or up even in a Kingston, you will hear that once they are vociferous, then you know say that I want big black mark on their name. They never seen a teacher position. They never see anything that's going to come their way, irrespective of their years of service. And you know this.
Yes, but it only can happen to cowards. Can't happen to Patricia. Can't happen to Patricia. I'm telling you.
I know everybody has some sharp blood like you know, mama.
Can't happen to Patricia. And I'm telling you, and I'm doing what I am doing based on the constitution and the code that protects me. I am not afraid when I get to understand the system, I walk with my code. I am not afraid. Listen, I work with some principals who are dangerous, but I was never afraid. I pull my code and I say, look at this. I work with chairman, when they plan meetings to get rid of me. All I did was pull my code. If you think them bad, try something. Because it's going to be you up against the code. You can't go around the code.
But the thing is, Pat, how many teachers remember say the little blue book is their power? They don't walk around with it. I think from the first day you get the blue book, them just shove it on the one table.
That's it. They don't know it.
Hold on. Let me say something here. That for those of you who are preparing to go boogie woogie with DJ Kevin Stew, we were trying to schedule to leave at 8, but that is not going to happen. So because we have another segment after this. So what I suggest you do, if come 8 o'clock, if you have to go to Kevin, see if you can straddle the fence and listen to us, and at the same time listen to Kevin. Kevin, you have my apologies, sir, because I promise you that we'll try and do some stuff so that we could get people over to your program. Second thing is this. I'm getting phone calls here and also text messages. And one person said, victimization is the order of the day. It is not as easy as Miss Forrester is making it. Badness, government, and governance. I just got a phone call that said the same thing. Said the government is running things to run things. A dear friend of ours said to ask the principal this question: is our school system designed around education as a liberative force for the black minds? Is Garveyism taught in the school curriculum? I'm not seeing an educational philosophy tied to something bigger than self or something tied to nation development. How do you respond to that?
Garveyism, it is a part of our social studies. It is a part of our social studies. And again, it all depends on who is leading. It all depends on leadership. Because at the end of the day, I am going to be teaching my children to know how to stand up for their rights. I have been doing that and will always continue to do that. So you have a curriculum to teach. But you as a leader, you working along with your teachers, will have to decide what it is that we are going to expose our students to. How is it that we are going to be teaching our children about social justice? By looking at, yes, what Marcus Garvey did and what other national heroes did. So it all boils down to planning. It all boils down to the leader of the school. It all boils down to your school improvement plan and what you stands for. But it's there, but it is you who have to plan in order to get it out.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Kevin, I read my mind. And Kevin, I actually pulled that up. Kevin actually, he might pull up the high school performance index because I was just looking at it on my phone, and it's like, Kevin, just read my mind and I'll pull it up because we'll try to do some correlation between resources, including salaries, and how students perform. But let me go back to something that Patricia said. You mentioned that the Chinese are coming and the Indians are coming, and we cannot abdicate our roles as educators to them to come and teach our children. We can't keep running. Now, the government recently announced that teachers will be imported, for lack of a better term, to teach our children in Jamaica because of the shortage of teachers. Now, there will be challenges regarding cultural norms, linguistics, a whole bunch of things. Let me talk to Richard first, because we haven't heard from Richard now. Richard, what are your feelings about teachers being imported to teach our children in Jamaica starting this coming semester?
Okay, there are quite a few things that I want to discuss. I will just say something that I wanted to say in the previous section. Every school that I've taught since I returned from the university, and every one of them, they have tried in some way to cause me to either give up or something. Now, yes, I resigned from Cornwall College, which is my school. And I resigned from Cornwall College, not only Richard James, but there was another man there by the name of Ainsworth Roach. Ainsworth Roach and I were a part of the team who won the national mathematics competition 5 times. 4 times as students from grade 10 to 13. And then when we went to teach there, 2 of us went to teach there. The school actually won the national mathematics competition again. Mr. Roach was the first to go. And then I went after. Just for speaking up for the rights of, for even my rights, if not the rights of everyone else. But of course, if I'm speaking, everybody has the same, set of challenges. And if I speak up, it's a problem. But the only reason why I resign, this is why I resign. Because this took priority over anything else. I'm gonna run from people I'm mobile. You understand what I'm saying? In this city here, Richard James don't run from people. But because I had the resources to write, I had to leave because I have to be in the right frame of mind. The resources right now consist of 22 books and over 5,000 fully animated stuff. Concerning now the importation of teachers, as a matter of fact, when the principal said something like the Chinese are coming and the so-and-so are coming, I did not imagine that she was talking about the importation of teachers. I think that she was talking about, as a subset in the corner, when you go on TikTok, you see our people of African descent and people in Africa are drop foot to show you how they can choreograph dance. And when you look at the Chinese video, you see the man them make robots, you see the man them cook all different kind of food, them build all different kind of building, it high tech this and high tech that, they're doing some studies, they're doing some design, they're doing some creation. That is what they are doing. Meaning that what will happen is that at all times we are going to be moving further and further down the ladder in terms of achievement in society, in the entire world. That is what I thought that she was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Okay. Sorry about that.
What I'd like to do is move to the importation of teachers.
I'm gonna speak of that now. Concerning the importation of teachers. If you are going to solve a problem, it may as well be, if not the best solution, a solution. And I read in a certain place that you cannot use a new set of threads to stitch an old garment, because the new set of thread is going to mash up the whole garment and it's going to be worse.
But
So
you know,
what we are trying to do in Jamaica, I don't know what it is called.
but
I'm
Richard,
going to give you an example of what is going to happen.
okay.
That is just one of it. It's not the entire thing, I'm sure that the principal and the master teacher will have a few other things to say. But this is the one that I'm going to let you know about the importation of teachers. You tell me where they are coming from. And you hear that they are going to come to Jamaica to work for the same salary, and they don't mind, and they are enthusiastic about it. And out of 1,000 teachers who are gone, we have 75 Cubans coming across. I say, like my old grandaunt, great grandaunt, that's very nice. Because we know that there are two high points, there are more, but there are two main reasons why teachers from Cuba and all the other nations come over. Now, I don't know if it's every single one of them, but I know that at least one, the United States, Canada, and Great Britain. For you to teach in some of those countries, you would have had to teach in a country of which the official dialect or the standard dialect is English. So some teachers cannot come straight from Cuba and go to the United States to teach, because they have not taught in a country for a year, in a country whose standard dialect is English. And so you will attract those individuals, and you think that you have a lot. Then you have all of these teachers coming into the schools. After a year, maybe a year and a half or two, they're not going to spend more. They are gone to North America. So that is one, that they need to teach in a country of which the standard dialect is English. The second one is that, oh, you know that I have been a teacher in Jamaica? That carries weight. That carries a lot of weight, because they know that people who teach in Jamaican system, somehow they go inside of the furnace and come out as pure gold. And that is what they are looking at. Of course, I'm not the only one with advice, but I know that there are other repercussions, so I'll just allow the principal and the master teacher to discuss those also.
All right, Charon.
Yes, sir. I mean, teacher migration is across the world. It's global. If there wasn't a need for my skills and so on to be in the United States. And of course, we will see that the same push and pull factors will play. I do also believe that what Mr. James just highlighted, where the culture shock and of course, the language barriers are going to be tantamount to, you know, after a year, then you find that a student may understand what the teacher is saying after a year when it may be too late. But then they had a problem too with my dialect and of course my English per se when I first got to the United States. You know, for some of them they thought I spoke too fast and whatever the case may be. We had to adjust, you know, and of course when you get passionate about something, they think you're arguing, you're argumentative, or you're combative. So when it goes down to, you're going to have to taper things. Now, when it comes to those persons coming in, yes, we know that it's going to be a stepping stone. For want of a better word, our Jamaican teachers, we stuck to it. We were there for the long haul. But when we saw that things weren't getting any better per se, it now gonna get no better. And you see, before me reach 100, bless the Lord, before me reach 100, me don't want to come out of the system and I bend my back and I go down a JTA, or they say, all right, me still have a loan on me after the paper. Nope. Yes, in the comments, persons may say it boils down to money. The entire world runs on money. So why is it that teachers should be treated any differently? Because they are making a conscious decision while they're still able to, and be ostracized for that. So when these teachers come, Mr. Rattigan, they're
Sure.
going to be getting possibly more than the teacher that is coming out of teachers college going to be getting, and those who are in the system, if you don't hold a senior teacher position or whatever, they're going to come here and they're going to get more. And the ministry cannot tell us that they're going to be coming here for the same money that our teachers are migrating for. We're not so crazy if you think that are the same thing.
Well, let me bring in the teacher who they are Jamaica and deal with this problem, and we'll have to deal with this problem pretty soon. But
I think the government response to this is disrespectful, because I cannot understand how you are willing to lose your trained, seasoned teachers, and you don't think you need to put something in place to retain them. And you think that the answer to this problem is to import teachers. We are here and we have the standard Jamaican English. And as Miss Lou says, it is a juicy picnic people understand standard Jamaican English. Because remember, we are still having the challenges with patois and the standard Jamaican English. So as far as I am concerned, we have a government right now in place that I believe, and forever since I believe this, they do not value education. The way they are dealing with this matter, the way they are treating this matter, is very disrespectful. And they do not value education. At the end of the day, the children who are suffering are the ones who are in the public system. Their children are in some private schools. And the teachers in the private schools, some of them are being paid well, especially the teachers who are teaching their children. So at the end of the day, I cannot see how you're going to be importing teachers to remedy the problems that we are having now. Because at my school is nicely decorated with pre-trained teachers. Because I can't find trained teachers. The 2 trained teachers I have, they are off now on the vacation, going off into retirement. So on staff now, I only have 1 trained teacher, and the other 5 teachers are pre-trained teachers. I have to now have a partnership with Sam Sharp Teachers College, where these pre-trained teachers are now attending evening college in the afternoons to get the extra help they need to manage the classroom with the little help that I am giving them there at school. So importing teachers right now, that's not the best remedy. They need to find some other ways for us to retain our teachers. They need to find some other ways to retain our teachers. I don't see this. I don't see how this is going to work out in order to take our education sector to another level. I don't see the students doing better because of this.
Worst.
I don't see them performing any better because of this.
well, we just had the recent, as I mentioned, I don't the name of the study escapes me right now, but it was recently done, and it showed that Jamaican students are performing below international standards. Let me put up a chart here and get some comments from all of you. Here we go. This is the high school performance index for 2024. I guess they measured it from 2023 into 2024. And I found the index matter quite interesting. Can everybody see it? I can make it. Well, let me see something.
Yeah, good.
All right.
All right, and then shift it to other, right.
Right. You want to make it bigger, or when I can't see it?
We can see it, man. What gets measured gets managed.
Yeah. So me, I wonder now. That is the first thing that jump out at me now. So what is getting measured? Because if what I'm hearing is that things aren't being managed, then based on this, it sounds like they're not being measured. And I remember who said it. I think it was Patricia who said that them could, or maybe it's you, Sharon, said that them could have go out and them could have do. I think it's you, Sharon. Them could have do the survey and get the, what was it, 23,000 teachers, something like that, and them could have get the survey done from all of them to figure out what the hell's going on. But here is the second thing. Every year I look at this thing, I notice it's the same schools. It's the same schools, and the schools we're talking about, they have resources. One of the things they have a strong alumni association. So when the government give them money, Campion, for example, a lot of the politicians and attorneys and doctors, they went to Campion. So them go and put some money for preserve the heritage and the longevity of the school in terms of education. Same thing with Immaculate and St. Andrew and Arden and Woolmers and Hampton and blah, 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 blah. So, question then is this. What is getting measured? Because a Campion, for example, doesn't need subsidies from the government. A Campion can subsist on alumni associations or alumni association. Same thing with Immaculate. So why is it the government is not then channeling resources that they would normally give to a Campion to another school that does not have a strong alumni association to support it? I don't know. I'm just thinking about this. What are your thoughts? Let me start with Miss Pat. What are your thoughts, Miss Pat?
She gone.
No, wait. No.
Come back.
He's back again.
Okay.
Miss Pat.
Okay.
All right. Richard, the limelight. Talk to me.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking something probably different from the question, even the question that they're asking.
Mm-hmm.
And as it pertains to school performance. 1 year, somebody help me. I think that Mr. Rattigan will be able to help me if I don't remember the name of the school. I remember when I was attending a university and Mr. Stephen Jackson was walking on the university campus, one of the old teachers at Cornwall College. And he was saying that he's evaluating the schools in Jamaica and how well they are performing. And he said, Richard James, guess which school is the best performing school in Jamaica? And if I could guess 20 schools, I would get every one of them wrong. And I asked him which one. And I'm trying to remember the name of the school. But you Mr. Rattigan will help me because even though the school is right around the corner from where he grew up. It's a school that wear a black and green plaid off the boulevard.
I don't see what school is.
No. Off the boulevard.
A primary school?
No, high school.
Meadowbrook.
Meadowbrook. Right.
Meadowbrook.
Yes. And he said Meadowbrook.
The boulevard. They're way up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, it's way into Kingston 20.
Yeah, they're near Avondale.
Okay.
Mm.
Right.
Riddles Road. You take Riddles Road and you go all the way up. Like they're at the foot of the hill, basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I saw the students going around there, I thought it was just nearby.
No.
No. Yes. And he said this, that we are not measuring the performance of schools because of the performance of the students in the end. We are measuring the performance of the schools based on where the students were when they entered the school as to, yes, where they are.
Yes, that's how they do it.
Yeah, at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was that was the school that transformed the lives of students more than any other school in the country in those days.
Then look for me. You know, me look transform. No, joke.
You attended Meadowbrook?
Yeah, me go Meadowbrook, yeah.
All right, maybe you can speak expressly about that. So, as you said, the schools that they have in the list, I'm just giving you another perspective on it, because we might just think that because Campion take a full 98 average student in grade 7 and give them a 95% average at the end of 11th grade. That's the most wonderful thing to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not the most wonderful thing. So I think that is what they are looking at, the end result. And they are not looking at anything else. And that is statistically very, very bad. That's a very, very bad idea how to evaluate a school and its performance. So that is the first thing. Concerning, of course, those schools that are doing well because of the resources. They're not only doing well because of the resources. They are doing well because when September morning comes, the new set of students entering those schools, they are reading over 90 words in 45 seconds and understanding everything.
They come prepared.
Right. While you have other schools, you have to get students to pass CXC after 5 years when they are reading 2 grades below when they enter the school.
Or at the primary school level still.
Yes. Right. And everyone, if you're into education for a minute and a half, then you will be able to attest to what I say. So again, I heard that the system is not so good for inner city students. Then we could take a look at the sum total of that. But I am not in any way, I wouldn't use the word impressed, because I'm always impressed with high performance. That's what I'm here about. But we have to look not only to the students who are at a particular level that we can jump and sing about, and try to get the students who are not that well, in terms of their performance throughout the primary school. Because of course, you'd have seen a lot of late bloomers. Because one is in the system for what? Over 20 years, and the other over 30 years. So you would have seen that. And you would have seen students who were written off. You would know, say a new brand picnic where some people write them off. And at the end of the day, the wonderful thing that they become in this life. You understand what I'm saying? So as it pertains to the performance of a school, Richard James knows better. The next thing is that, I'm not going to be speaking too long on this one. The next thing I want to talk about is the CXC mathematics result. Now, people will say, oh, the result is poor because it is 39 this year and it's 36. And then they say 1 year it's 42. And then, but they say this one is 35, or they say that this one is 43. When they tell us in Jamaica that the mathematics percentage of pass in Jamaica is 43% or 36%, nothing could be further from the truth. Jamaica's percentage pass in mathematics for CXC is about 13%. If not, it's surely not over 20. Reason for saying this, if you have, God forbid, you're in a school and the school has 2 shifts. Let me just use a school that I've taught at as an example. Look, consider St. James High School. St. James High School has 11 grades on either shift. So if you're looking at 10, 11 grades on one shift, and each one has 20 students, so 400 students leaving the school, right? So if in any case you have 400 students leaving this school, we can put it right here, leaving your school, any school, I'm just using the number, you have 400 students leaving the school, and you somehow erase this number and say, all right, 100 students. We're going to cause 100 students to do the examination. 100 students do the examination.
Yeah.
50 pass the exam. So we know that this is 50%. That, for the most part, would be at least 8 percentage points higher than the national average.
Wow.
So we wouldn't be able to cry about that. But when you think about it, that 300 students are disenfranchised that should be in it. So the total is actually 400. What does that work out to? Let me show you how to work it out easy. Because you want to work it out as a percentage, you divide this one by 2 and you get 25. You divide this one by 2 and you get 200. Now, because you want it to be a percentage, it must be out of 100. So you divide this one by 2 to get 100. And then this divide by 2, the 25 divided by 2 is 12 and a half. So then, the school ends up getting 12.5% pass.
But
While,
we recorded as 50%.
yes, and that is a widespread thing in Jamaica, you know.
Wow.
This is a widespread thing in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing mathematics resources, I'm privy.
Richard.
Yes.
Just stick a pin right on the point. I have an important, a very important call here. Here's what happened.
Yes.
I am on the phone. Somebody who was my neighborhood in a firehouse. You
Yes.
see the picture behind me?
Yes.
Behind me. She live right in front. That's my yard. The entrance to going to my yard.
Yeah.
Right? From 41 Penwood Crescent. That's one of the entrances. She used to live across the street. I have not spoken to this lady since 1977. 1977 was the last time I saw this lady and spoke to her. She just called me and said to me, said, listen, I'm a guidance counselor and I have something I want to add to the discussion. So I'm going to make you talk.
Yes.
Hello?
I would want to hear too.
Hear her. Go ahead.
What happened? It is usually the principal that is negotiating for the teachers. The principals are the persons that are negotiating for all the teachers. So they are not looking forward for the teachers, they're looking forward for themselves. First and foremost, all our benefits were not taxed. As a guidance counselor, my traveling was not taxed, resource and technology was not taxed, as seniority was not taxed. This new salary thing, they have lump sum everything and now are taxing it. And that is why teachers are just leaving because our pays are dismal. So that's one of the big things that's happened. People
Principals don't bargain for teachers.
But because all our benefits are now taxed, the only one that is not being taxed, the only benefit that is not being taxed now is our hardship. So if you're working in a community where there's violence and gunshot, or you live in or you're teaching in a community where it's hard to get to work, and this was instituted years ago when teachers were teaching certain inner city communities. So they used the incentive to get teachers to apply to those workplaces. So it's called hardship. Now, what happened now? It's going to be expiring in a couple of years because they don't want to continue with it. So a lot of benefits now that we used to have, it is now being lumped in our salary and tax. So they give you this big thing and make it appear as if you're going to get a lot of money. So when persons realize in April 2023, when they get the pay and they realize, teachers will say, what? Then no, all those top schools that you see, that's the first point about our salary. Second point, all those schools you're talking about are top schools. They don't add any value to the students. The students are to the school very brilliant, reading at literacy, up top. There are students who are at pre-primary level, below 12-year-old students who are not even able to read. Some of them can't even spell cat, cow. So that is where the government should be sending reading specialists, sending more persons. Those inner city schools, those past students, when they graduate, they don't come back, they don't look at the back of their eyes. They do not return. Our alma maters, like Middlebrook High School and all those, my alma mater as well, all of those schools, they make sure that their alma mater is provided for, money is pumped into sports, money is pumped into welfare, scholarships, all kind of things happen for them, but the inner city schools don't get that. And the third thing now I want to speak about is the language barrier. When these persons come from Cuba, Ghana, India, with their thick accent, how are Jamaican children whose first language is patois are going to be able to understand them? Because I remember back in my days, when I went second form, and my Spanish teacher from Cuba, we couldn't understand him. And I'm from a home where my father spoke English proper. So I was able to, and I was having difficulty then. So can you imagine our students now who don't even write English, don't even speak standard English? How are they going to understand these persons? The last school I taught, I'm not going to call any names. There was a teacher from Cuba. We heard the students with her in Spanish class, and they were cursing all kind of bad words. And she didn't understand because she didn't know our bad word language. She didn't know bad word. The students are going to have a field trip. I'm telling you. So this is why the teachers are leaving the classroom. One, the pay. Two, the type of children are coming to us. And three, they are trying to import new teachers. And it's going to be rough on these, and it's going to be worse for our students.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to stay in touch, yeah? All right.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Take care.
Cool.
All right. Hey, want to believe that? 1977 was the last time I saw this.
I was 6.
Yeah, you're 6. And she just called me. Her brother gave her my number, and she just called me and said, listen, I have something I want to contribute to it. I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Mr. James, continue with your point, sir. Please.
Yes. So I'm showing you that what they say is a 40% this and the 40% that, and look here, the performance of Jamaican students now is a lot worse than they're making it out to be. If you can take a school and claim that 50% of them pass the examination, when in fact it's just what? 12.5% pass the examination, then that's something. Yeah, to just a little bit iterate on what she says, in addition to the fact that the students will not understand much, do not forget that at the end of 1 year, all of them are gone and you have to rotate the teachers again.
To jump on your point too, Mr. James.
Yes.
When it comes to even the exams, no school is sending up a cohort of 400 students, because 300 out of those 400 can manage the exam. That is setting up, like I went back to say, setting up the students for failure. So they're going to send their brightest 100, who they know will give them the 100% passes. And that's how they rank the schools in Jamaica.
Oh.
Right. And that is horrible, because if you are about to go into the teachers' college and they require mathematics, when you go there, you cannot tell them that, listen, the only reason why I don't have a pass in mathematics is because I was not given the chance. You cannot tell them that, because you cannot tell them that, then the person who they did not allow to do the examination must be a part of the failing statistic.
They are not counting it as that. They are
We
counting
know.
100, and my left is a Calabar, Meadowbrook, Campion, all of those schools are high performing schools. And then you say the little schools now will send up the 300 because they might give them a fighting chance. These are the failing schools.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So look here, let me just give you just a few little things. I was told in a particular school that I should bring the mathematics resources to that school. That school, in a particular examination year, not even one student passed mathematics there. Then I was told of another school, one student passed mathematics. That person got a 3, yet still that person was repeating the subject. So the only student who passed mathematics was one who was repeating the subject.
But Mr. James, why are the students failing the mathematics? Why are they failing the subjects?
All right, let me give you one for that school, the one that had the one. The one that, no, I'm not laughing at the one, but I'm just, the whole thing, the whole shock of it. All right, the school that had one person passed. That school was a school previous to that was performing a lot higher than expected in mathematics. They were getting great results. Then, of course, I think that this was before COVID. The person who was behind it, putting everything together, the head of department, that person left. And somehow they were not able to make a replacement or a suitable replacement. And so the school started moving downhill because that one migrated to Europe.
Good. So what is really causing the children to fail mathematics overall? What is really causing our children to fail?
Okay.
Because if the children have teachers, what is really causing our children to fail?
You're saying teachers. All right. When I returned from the university in 1996, because I always like to give a story, my brother's fiance was in teachers' college. And he said to me, please help me with this mathematics homework. And I said, bring your notebook. Person brought the notebook. Looking at how things were explained in the notebook. The person who is teaching her mathematics in a teacher's college had not a single clue about mathematics. So then now we start to see where everything is coming from. And there's a rippling effect all the way down to the grade 1, to the primary level, and to all classrooms. Let me give you another example. I was helping someone with some statistics. Statistics is not my first branch of mathematics, neither the second. All right, I'm algebra and calculus. But I helped the person with something, but I had to run away to Westmoreland to do something. So she said that she was going to ask another teacher to help her with the mathematics, and the teacher did it. Now, there were some calculations that were required to be done. He did all of the calculations and got them right. He did not correctly interpreted one of the results. And none of his explanation for any decision that he made following that was correct.
This is just terrible. Everything I've heard tonight about the education
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is it that our teachers are the best abroad, but they're not the best in Jamaica?
Sharon, why is it that
some? Let me say some. Let me say
you
some.
say no, Mr. Rattigan.
Why is it that some?
Yes, Ms. Pat, we heard your question. So I tried to be one of those teachers who me dance me dance abroad. You understand? I tried to ensure that mathematics wasn't my strong suit. And I taught all grades in the primary system before leaving. But I was relegated mostly to a second grade classroom. Now, when I learned concepts, I made sure I availed myself to workshops and any little thing. Teachers who are having seminars on math, or I found a math tutor, to either be a resource person, not only for myself, but my colleagues. And of course, these are the steps that I would have taken for us to be able to successfully, deliver the mathematics curriculum or the mathematics areas in the curriculum at this primary school level. So when my students were coming up, they would not have had that fear that I would have had coming into even high school as a student. So there are things there are mitigating circumstances out there. You'll find that, trust me, a student who can't read gravitates to the numbers. And believe you me, they will pass the math.
Well, I tell you what, Aaron, since you have the floor, right? And we're getting ready to move to another segment right now. I mean, I hate to leave this segment. You're going to have to come back, all of you.
Okay.
But for now, what the producers are telling me, and they might kill me, is that
Mhm.
you have 1 minute each.
1 minute.
Yeah, but here's what you're going to spend the 1 minute doing. We have
Mhm.
heard what the problems are, and I thought you were heading in that direction towards solutions right now. So what I'd like you to do is spend the next minute as a wrap up and just give us some solutions from your perspective as to how we can make the education system more viable, more productive in Jamaica today.
For me, I am great on advocating for best practices. Find those teachers, those colleagues. Mr. James is one. I'm Moby in there, St. James in there. We have failing schools in St. James. It starts from the primary school level, delve into the primary school curriculum, get your teachers on board to the best practices, the current trends, and lead from there. The students who can't read, they're the ones who are doing the math. They're the ones who needs that little bit more attention to get to understanding the part of interpreting the question. They're good with numbers. They can work the numbers around you, you know. But then at the end of the day, work on the reading. The reading is instrumental in understanding how I'm supposed to break down this problem. It all comes down to synthesis.
All right. All right. Patricia, why you bring the vibes, man. You juke people left, right, and center. You kill teeth, you kick out whole heap of teeth when the people are left with gum. Do we have a minute now and
The,
talk
the
to about
solution, the solution, the solution to all of this, we have to start from the infant level. We need qualified, trained teachers at the infant level. As what we are doing now is just some hard trainees, persons going doing a 6-month course in early childhood education, and then those persons are placed in our infant department. That can't work. So we need trained, qualified teachers in our infant department. We have to get it right at the infant department. We have to get it right at the primary level for them to get it right at the high school level. So therefore, we need more reading specialists. We need more special education teachers in our schools because remember, the social issues are out there. Unlike my school, we have children with autism, we have children with different challenges, and they are expected to perform as good as the other, as well as the other students, who might not have the challenges that they're experiencing. So it starts at the infant level, it starts at the primary level, and we just need to get the qualified persons to address the problems that we are experiencing. We need there's a number of other things. We need the PATH program to be extended to more of our students who really need it, so that they can attend school. So school attendance again, that needs help. So in whatever way we can to assist our students to attend school regularly, we need to deal with that. Our homes are in problems. We now have, remember, we also have high school students having children. Children that I'm teaching now, some of them are my great grandchildren, and I'm only 51 years old. So you know definitely that the students who I taught, I am now teaching their children and even their grandchildren. Can you imagine?
well,
So we need to get the social construct in order for our communities, and again, the infant department and our primary school department.
all right. Thank you so much. Mr. James.
Okay,
Talk.
just very quickly, the failure with mathematics over the years is really the meat and the potatoes of it is that the concepts are not being conveyed to the students in the right way. And I'll give you an example of the Teachers College, and you know that we'll have a rippling effect all the way down. And of course, you know that I have a set of mathematics resources with all of the concepts for CXC students. Now, Jamaica does not have an education problem because it's what would call it? A paradox? I would call it an irony, but I'll prefer to call it an oxymoron, that as somebody mentioned it, but I would mention it in the same way, that Jamaican teachers are the best in the entire world, yet still Jamaica is performing below the level in every way as it pertains to the educational development of our children. So there's something wrong. Now, I can give you the name of about, if I have enough time, but I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to attempt it today, of about 15 great mathematics teachers. Some of them are not here, some of them are here, and most of them would have migrated, who are able to turn around the performance of this country in one single year, you will see a marked improvement. I can identify them. Why can't the Ministry of Education? Why can't the government? And why is it that the government knows nothing about Richard James mathematics resources? So
don't worry, you will
so
soon.
there need to be just one more thing. There just need to be just identify what we have in terms of resources, not only Richard James resources, but also human resources, because I know a lot of excellent mathematics teachers in this country who are disenfranchised by the government, by the Ministry of Education.
All right, look, I mean, I don't know how to thank all of you, because it's been an eye-opening experience for me to listen to professionals. I mean, I do a little bit of reading and I talk to some people, but when you listen to, Sharon and Richard, and of course, the great Patricia Forrester, and hear about all these things that these great people are trying to do. Even though Sharon is not there, she's still trying her best. She's providing solutions. And like she said, she will come back to Jamaica, And like somebody said to her, we had the back, and she said, me never fling with the key or something like that. It's gonna take chopping no stone behind her. It's gonna take the will. It's gonna take political will for this thing to turn around. And I cannot understand for the life of me why the government, instead of investing the money in human resources so that them can stay and develop the country, they allow these people. And when I say allow, because I will actually force them to leave. And then you're bringing other people now, which is not going, based on everything that we've heard so far, it's not going to improve the education system of Jamaica. So, having said that, let me turn it over to Mr. President to do the closing remarks for the program.
Well, guys, let me first of all thank you all for coming and sharing your passion. Patricia, undoubtedly, you were very expressive and you explained yourself thoroughly. I do believe that your passion for the institution of teaching and the teaching profession is well noted and documented. And I know many people share the sentiments that you do, that the JTA, not the Just Talk Association only, Richard, but his association and their collective bargaining power is not necessarily doing so for the best interests of the profession, but it seems as if there are some special interests might be at work. And I think that if the election process to get these representatives nominated is done in a political manner, it's something you guys should consider. I do understand the role of unions, and a lot of times they have to make compromise when they're negotiating, because there are so many competing factors. If they want one particular benefit in one area, they may compromise on another. So sometimes the facts will dictate the outcome. But if it is solely and primarily political and just not necessarily doing what's in the best interest of the teacher, I think that should be examined more. Richard, as always, you bring some rich context to the situation, and I love the plug behind you. The phone numbers are there, ladies and gentlemen. I love them. And the email address is there. Yeah, giving him some room to kind of share that. And somebody was asking, why is it you're always in the classroom? This man living in the classroom. And I said, if you're an educator, you're just an educator. And it's something that you are passionate about. Over 20 books and thousands of animated clips. And I think because you're so passionate, you live the game. You don't just talk, you live this. So when you speak, you're speaking from the position of somebody who lives and breathes teaching. So I love everything you're doing. And, as a Rasta man, or a man with locks, back in the days, people then said, no, man, they don't hear dread, I just ganja then smoke, know nothing, and don't sign back. Yeah, no, we never talk about the smoke, man. We just talk about the
I know the whole thing here, but I don't smoke.
But to see a Rasta man can shake him locks and come and say, yo, listen, man, we can tie up anyone on statistics right now. And I'm the math genius. And I love it. And as it relates to teaching Garveyism in school, I know Marcus Garvey's history is taught, but the Garveyite philosophy, I think that's what people were talking about in the terms of self-sustenance and reliance and being proud of who you are. Sharon, I'm not sure if I'm butchering the name, but I'll work with that. I butchered it. All right. Sharon. Okay, I go with Ron. You prefer Ron? But she not that Ron, but I'm gonna go with Sharon. But one thing though, before I give my comment and my analysis on your presentation, what is that thing around your neck? I've been trying to figure it out the whole time. What is that?
It's a
She's a
necklace.
fashion girl.
It's a necklace.
Fashion girl.
So it's not politically affiliated or anything. It's a necklace. It's a statement piece.
It's not like
Yeah.
Okay, it's quite interesting. I see this piece coming out the side here, then one from the bottom, and two. So it's quite fashionable. So nicely done. But thank you also as it relates to your migration and going overseas to teach. I can understand sometimes the economic situation that really causes us to make these decisions for our own benefit. I know a lot of we will love to say, yeah, man, I go back and Jamaica as soon as I start up myself, man, I go back. But we know it's not that easy to make that transition after we've experienced and been changed in terms of your income level and potential to come back down to that level and feel comfortable. But I do want to commend you for taking this bold step and still expressing your passion for the country, for education. So collectively, I want to thank all of you for loving Jamaica. Guys, Richard information is on the street. Principal, thank you so much for loving your teachers and being an advocate and speaking up and not keeping your voice silent. And Sharon, stay around. Will, back to you.
Listen, Patricia, Sharon, and Richard, if you would be so kind as to put your details, your contact details in the chat, because I see people are trying to reach out to you guys. They're asking for your email contact so that they can touch base and continue the discussion with you. And of course, we will continue the discussion with all of you. So we'll just wait for you.
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes.
Just say that, tell Mrs. James to do it. I hope that she's paying attention.
She heard you. Mrs. James, are you here?
Yeah, so Mrs. James could put the information in the chat for me in the meantime.
So Patricia, real quick, is spelling bee they still do spelling bee in Jamaica?
Yes, we still have spelling bee.
Okay, just checking. Was a question. Thank you.
We have the information in there? No? Yes?
They put it in the private chat. So I will move it from the private chat to the comment. This is... I got Miss Patricia information. I'm going to drop it in the comment.
Okay.
All right, this is for Patricia.
And thank you very much for having me.
No, man.
And I want us to continue the conversation.
We will.
Yes.
We will. The pleasure is all ours. So, we're looking forward to having you real soon.
And Sharon, I know you'll soon be back, Sharon. Go on. Continue to get the experience and come back. You can't leave me alone.
Yeah, man, we're going to stuck it for come back and fight with them, man. Know yourself.
All right.
Everything is there, right? Right, Prezi?
Yeah, I just posted it.
You just posted it. All right. So, ladies, we will see you soon. Until then, take care of yourselves. Be well.
All right. All the same to you. Bye.
All right, cool. Bye. Brother Richard, big up yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, thanks.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Peace out, Richie. I post it now, but I don't know if it's sure. Some weird reasons.
All right. It not sure?
Anybody seen the comment I made? I posted it, but I'm looking at the chat behind the back here, but I don't see it. But